Okay, so this is my reflection on Amy, Bess, and Claire's case studies that we reviewed in class and kind of linking them back to things that I've learned clinically. So the first one was Amy. She was about 6 centimeters, got into the tub. She was having a really hard emotional time. And an hour later, she started grunting. Fetal heart tone sounded great. And she started pushing. There was a little bit of concern if she was fully dilated, but she was. And she pushed her baby out. Baby went right skin to skin with mom, and all was well. In class, there was kind of a lot of discussion on delivery of the placenta. So my preceptor likes to typically deliver them outside of the tub, from what I've noticed. But I'm now kind of working with not another preceptor, but there's another nurse midwife in the practice. And I've noticed that she kind of just like hangs out, and if the placenta will come in the tub, then the placenta will come. I think mainly outside of the tub is to help with bleeding, and to be able to tell like what the blood loss was. There was a birth that we were at where a baby was born, placenta came out. Placenta didn't come out. Baby was born, and there was a lot of blood, and they were trying to determine what was happening. So they got mom out before they delivered the placenta, and as they were getting mom out, mom passed out, and it was like immediate 911, like we need to get her to the hospital. There was a lot of blood, and my preceptor couldn't figure out what was going on. So they sent her in, and she ended up coming back, and they sent her in after she almost passed out again. And she ended up having a cervical tear and went like immediately into the OR for the amount of blood that she lost. Very, very petite little mom. So I would say that would be like one of the things that I've seen a lot of midwives do, where they're like, okay, baby's here, like, let's get up. I agree, Gina, with you saying like that adrenaline's really high after birth, and that's usually when they're most willing to be like, okay, let's get out of the tub. So yeah, I think as a midwife, I would prefer to get moms out of the tub, get them on fresh chucks, get them like kind of tucked in bed, and then we can deliver the placenta, really see what the bleeding is, do a quick vaginal exam right then and there, and then if all is well, you can tuck them in, and they're kind of like, don't need to touch them again unless they need a repair, or unless placenta is obviously coming super fast and you don't have time to do any of that. But I think as a midwife, I think at the end of all that, the postpartum is like, you can like be like, oh, okay, like I'm in postpartum, I'm done being touched, I don't have to be poked and prodded anymore. Rather than if you do it in the tub, I feel like the adrenaline's down, they're just exhausted, they're shaky, they need to eat, like there's too much going on. So I agree, Gina, with you saying that time to get out of the tub, second baby's born. After they have a second to like say hi to baby, of course. But for Bess's case, she had a spontaneous rupture of membrane, fetal heart tones were 100 to 110. I would definitely think baby was coming if I saw a heart tone that's at or around 100. Baby came right out, got her off the toilet, came out. She was on bathroom floor, and everything came right out. As a student midwife, I find it super confusing when a mom is on all fours, and I know that's like the position to go to for a lot of moms, so I really need to figure it out in my head. But the whole pelvis is flipped, and I'm always like, what is happening right now? Where's her pubic bone? Like, I just get so confused. So as a student that's trying to learn one way, and then they just like flip the other way, and then there's a foot up, and then like everything's twisted, my brain feels like so jumbled. So that's one of the things that I need to work on, especially for a shoulder dystocia, because I'm always like, oh, the shoulder's like, I need to reach in right here. And I'm like, no, like I need to reach in down here. So I get like very jumbled in my head. And that's one thing that I really need to work on, is taking pelvises, a picture of a pelvis, and like flipping it around so I can look at it the other way and look how baby's coming through, and the positions, because different positions and baby coming through the pelvis, it has just been like a struggle for me. So that would be something that I really need to work on, and something that can be really confusing for me during deliveries. I feel like Bass was a pretty straightforward case, especially with like all the kids not kind of leaving her alone, and they all went away, and then she had her baby. It seems like a very classic like second, third, fourth time mom or birthing person that is trying to have her baby like in this like tiny little moment of peace in her household. So I thought that was kind of funny as we reviewed that case study. It was just so clear to me, like I could just visualize her birth. I feel like I've been to so many of those. So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. I think people often freak out at the 100, the fetal heart tone at 100, especially as like a newer student. But obviously baby was right there, so that makes sense with head compression. Okay, and Claire, a breech delivery, so exciting to see if everything goes well. Yeah, so I loved the idea of calling EMS. There is a breech delivery in the practice in the fall, and it was like baby was coming. Like by the time we noticed it was a breech delivery, like the bum was crowning. It was my preceptor's actual first breech delivery in 30 years, so that was really exciting. She's always kind of been open to the idea of breech deliveries, but after doing one, she's like, I think I like when they're a surprise, because then there's a lot less anxiety going into the room. So yeah, I liked the idea of calling EMS right away. In Connecticut, we are not licensed, and there's really no talk of us getting licensed. I mean, there's like tiny bits of chatter, but it's definitely, I feel like, a long way away for CPMs to get licensed. So in Connecticut, we can do, like, there's just no regulations. The midwives don't have regulations. There's so many midwives that have different mixed reviews about breech delivery, so no one can kind of come to an agreement on, like, all the midwives don't have their own, like, hey, these are our regulations, is what I'm trying to say. So for Connecticut, we can do as we please. I think my midwife definitely prefers to try to flip baby, and doesn't really want to go into a delivery knowing that it's a breech. If it's surprise breech, then it's surprise breech, and here you are delivering a breech baby. But I think even not being licensed and not having the regulations, I think for that extra security afterwards, postpartum, discussing the case with the parents, especially depending on how it turns out, calling EMS, I think, can bring a lot of comfort to them. You can even have, like, they don't need to be in the room. You can even just be like, you can stand outside the door, like, I'll let you know if I need you. But that extra layer of I think, like, professionalism for the clients, like, I feel like it, in my eyes, it would make me as a client be like, my midwife really had my back and really knew what she was doing and really wanted to make sure I was taken care of as a whole. So that's my summary on all the things. Oh, one more thing. The breech delivery, the surprise breech delivery I wanted to say that we were talking about hip dysplasia. So her pediatrician wanted to get the baby into a brace, and the mom declined. The mom was like, I'm not doing that. But what she ended up doing was she ended up putting the baby in like a cloth carrier and lifting the baby's hips on her, and pretty much carried her nonstop for the first 2 months. And it corrected itself completely just by being in a carrier. So I thought that was really, really awesome. But okay, I'm going over on time, so I'm going to stop. But that's my reflection.